Good morning today. We'll start here with brief introductions.
I'm Steve Frenzik. I teach political science at the U.S. Naval Academy.
I'm Margaret Branson, Associate Director for the Center for Civic Education.
And good morning. I'm Scott Kawasaki, and I work at a hospital in Fairbanks, Alaska, and I'm the youngest member of the Alaska State Legislature. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Daniel Che, and I, like the rest of my colleagues here, are seniors at Westminster Christian Academy, and this fall I will be attending the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana.
Hi, my name is Jake Grimes, and I will be attending Rockhurst University in Kansas City in the fall.
Hi, my name is Andrew Nichols. I'll be attending Auburn University this fall to study English.
My name is Matt Schwartz, and I will also be attending Auburn University. And at this time, I'd like to introduce our coach, Mr. Ken Besh.
Good morning. Today we're going to have a conversation with you. We are on Unit 6, and it's question number 3. In comparison to other democracies, the American political culture still contains many of the values that make for a vibrant democracy, and these may have increased over the past several decades. Tocqueville would not recognize contemporary America, but he still might conclude that his observation about democracy in America generally holds true today. Do you agree or disagree, and why? Tocqueville said that there was a greater opportunity and equality of condition among people in America than anywhere else. Is this still true? What evidence can you offer to support your position? Tocqueville said Americans sought to rely on their own efforts to solve problems and resist the evils and difficulties of life. Is this still true today? And what evidence do you have to offer in support?
Although the American political climate has changed dramatically since Tocqueville's time, we all agree that compared to other democracies, the basic structure and vibrancy of American democracy has been preserved. First, statistics and surveys show that compared to other democracies, American democratic principles rank very high. The International Social Survey Program conducted a study in 2004 revealing that Americans display a stronger sense of civic engagement than other nations. This dutiful inclination is especially seen in the recent town hall meetings, displaying civic participation spurred on by unhappiness with government policies.
We all admit the U.S. is more civically engaged than other democracies. However, our unit splits over whether Tocqueville's observations would hold true today. In the past decade, political analysts like Robert Putnam have criticized the American public, citing diminished involvement in social organizations among younger generations. Civic education is minimal, contributing to a low voter turnout and political complacency.
However, public participation has actually increased in different areas of civic life. There has been a development in protesting, petitioning, and internet activism, proving that Americans are changing the ways they choose to participate and thus redefining a good citizen. While Americans may or may not be as civically engaged as in Tocqueville's time, the opportunities afforded to American citizens are still prevalent.
We agree with Tocqueville's assertion that America offers greater opportunity and condition than anywhere else in the world. Under the provisions of the 14th Amendment, those under U.S. jurisdiction gain greater opportunity through the concept of limited government. First, due process protects the rights of all citizens, regardless of race, gender, and religion, on 2 levels. Procedurally, the government must follow fair guidelines when dealing with criminal and civil cases. Substantively, in the case of Brown v. Board, the court ruled in favor of minority groups by ruling the doctrine of separate but equal illegitimate.
Second, equal protection secures the promise of equality entailed to all persons within the United States. Specifically, women have been guaranteed rights listed in the Constitution. Whereas women enjoy freedoms in America, they are suppressed in some countries. The gender apartheid in Saudi Arabia denies women even the ability to testify in criminal court, dismissing their testimony as, quote, unreliable.
In Tocqueville's observation, he noticed the unbridled potential many Americans had during the Jacksonian era. In modern times, political and social barriers based on law no longer inhibit individuals from attaining better condition.
We partially disagree with Tocqueville's claim that Americans rely on their own efforts to solve problems, because now they rely more heavily upon the federal government to fix, quote, the evils and difficulties of life. First is in the area of business. American auto giants GM and Chrysler, on the verge of collapse, went before Congress asking for a bailout. The industry consumed billions of dollars of public money to avoid collapsing before filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Second, individuals now rely more heavily on government programs. New Deal programs have continued to expand since their inception, and it will consume $700 million of taxpayer money in 2010. Although the government continues to assist individuals through welfare, Non-government organizations also play a significant role in the benefit of American people.
The first to respond to Hurricane Katrina was the American Red Cross, providing over 12 million meals and deploying 138,000 volunteers from every state immediately after the hurricane hit. When federal attempts at relief were labeled by former President Bush as unacceptable, the Red Cross and other private organizations stepped in to aid the Gulf Coast.
We are now ready for your follow-up questions.
You know, one of the observations that Tocqueville made was that Americans were more conversant with their rights and with the principles of freedom than the greater part of Europeans. How did it come about that they were conversant with their rights at the time Tocqueville observed them, and are Americans equally as conversant today?
Well, when Tocqueville came in the mid-1800s, he came at a time during the presidency of Andrew Jackson, in which was known as the Jacksonian era, in which the common man rose to positions of greater wealth and value than it did before.
I think that what Tocqueville saw, what he recognized most, was that Americans were forming voluntary associations and thus exercising their right to association. And I do not think this has remained true today. While there still are many voluntary associations that people do create, enrollment has gone down by over 50% in the past 30 to 40 years. So we're definitely seeing a decline.